What's going on, everybody? John with ACTION-FLIX.com coming at you with another edition of the Weekly Intel here on the Action-Fix podcast. That is right. I am back again after, well, this hiatus hadn't been so bad. I mean, like some of the hiatuses in the past have been like literally like months and months and months and months and months and months and months. So it's like it's only been a couple weeks, I think. So we're not doing too bad. So I'm getting into the groove, if you will. So today is Friday, March 14th, 2025, and we have a new edition of the Action Fix podcast, the weekly intel, where we talk about all the latest news in the world of action cinema and television. I don't forget about television. Don't gotta remember that. I always say action cinema, but it's like television's right there too. You can't forget about TV as TV's crushing it, or sometimes crushes it more than the cinema is at sometimes. But it is what it is. So it's like you got to talk about all of it. So we are we're not live, sorry. We are usually I do this live, but I'm not doing it live right now. This is a recording. So I'm talking to you via a recording, if you will. I've done this. So I'm probably at work while you're watching this because I'm doing this before I go to work later on today. Pretty good week. Not too bad in terms of weekly intel, in terms of news and all kinds of good stuff that came out this week. So it's Friday, so hopefully like the news has kind of subsided. So like I said, I usually I'm gonna do the weekly intel like closer to the end of the week, Friday. Weekends are really super hard to record because, like I said, my job, I'm usually working 12-hour days, 10, 11, 12. It varies. So it's kind of hard to do recording. So, like Fridays, I'm like, okay, I'm going to record. If anything happens today, after I record this, my apologies. I'll probably put it on my actionflix.com website, if you will. So, but what we have right now, I'm going to go and I'm going to put on the old. That's right. There. Oh, we start with a good one. We got Charlie Weber starring in High Ground this week. News on Scott Adkins' latest Death March, which is not known as Death March any longer. And we'll get into that in a little bit. Oh, and before I get started, I have to also announce that this week, last Wednesday, I was on my buddy Owen Frill. We all know Owen. He is the head of Action Elite, the actionelite.com. He does his live streams on Wednesday. And I am fortunate enough to be a part of the gang as we talk about old school and new action. This week we had the wonderful opportunity to have our first guest host, a special guest host, if you will. That was on the Action Elite Live, which is what it's called. So we were talking about Recoil. If you all know Recoil, and this is why I showed this in my opening. That's Gary Daniels, the great Gary Daniels, back in 1998, beating the shit out of some unfortunate stuntman in Recoil, which is a PM Entertainment movie. And again, if you're a hardcore action fan like me and you're a little bit older, you probably know what PM Entertainment is. So pretty much Canon Films was on the outs, late 80s, early 90s. They pretty much they exploded into oblivion from being in debt for all the movies they were trying to make, and then they did those big budget, like they threw the curveball and some of those big budget movies like Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, and Masters of the Universe and all that stuff, and then they just pretty much ran themselves out of business. Well, as Canon Films was starting to kind of and then they were turning, and Menachem Golan and Yoram Globus at the time, who were head of Canon, they separated. PM Entertainment was kind of getting started. And pretty much throughout the 90s, PM Entertainment delivered some of the best action cinema output. And I will dare to say, even better than a lot of the stuff we're getting today. Way back in the 90s. Practical stunts, practical effects, explosions, thousands and thousands and thousands. I might even say millions of cars were destroyed in PM Entertainment movies throughout that decade. You had such great talent as Jeff Wincott, of course, Gary Daniels, Don the Dragon Wilson was one, Michael Worth. A lot of great names went through the PM Entertainment convoy when they were making their movies. And we talked about 1998's Recoil, which was basically Gary Daniels' version of The Punisher. And I kind of mentioned that during the yeah, there it is right there. I mentioned that during the Again, I just had some technical difficulties there. So I mentioned it during the telecast that yeah. So basically, you slap a skull on him and you're good to go, or dye his hair black, like I said. But we talked about Recoil, which is an awesome, probably the best Gary Daniels movie, if not one of the best. It's definitely in my top three, with Fist of the North Star and probably Riot being the other one. And again, PM Entertainment was probably the best for Gary Daniels movies back in the day. They made him look the best in terms of his fighting abilities and on-screen movement and everything. So yeah, so we talked about Recoil, which if you haven't seen it, make sure you do so. It's actually on Amazon Prime right now, because I noticed that I have an old school copy. I had the VHS with the original artwork, and I burned it onto a DVD back in the day when DVD burners started coming out. So I could get a real DVD copy, but I'm kind of, just, that's my baby. Like, it's like, I mean, is it the greatest copy? No, but it's kind of like it's like I did it when I first was getting a DVD burner, and I got the original cover art, which you don't see anymore, which has Gary standing there with the gun, and you see a bunch of thugs in the back coming at him. So yeah, so we were talking about that movie, and Owen got the great Art Camacho to come on. That's right, veteran stuntman, on-screen fighter, stunt coordinator, and director Art Camacho, who delivered so many great movies back in the day for PM Entertainment, and is still going strong today. He came on and gave us some great tidbits about filming Recoil with Gary Daniels, and great tidbits about just the industry in general at that time. Done a lot of great stuff. So, if you haven't seen it yet, go over to my man Owen's Action Elite YouTube channel. Check it out. It's Recoil. It's the last Wednesday stream. We do them live every Wednesday, unless we're on hiatus or we can't make it for a reason. So yeah, so we had Art Camacho, the one and only Art Camacho. And if you're an action fan, you know who Art Camacho is. I'm not going to. I've already explained who he was. He's an icon in the industry. He's done so much, worked with pretty much everybody there is to work with in the industry. Has directed many films, stunt coordinated many films, action design, all that good stuff. And he came on and was just awesome, and a great talker, loves to tell stories. He's just a good interview. I also interviewed him a while back, and I actually have a two-parter. I put the first part out, but then I lost the second part. I had since gotten it back, so I have to kind of put that out there too. But check it out. The Action Elite Live talks Recoil with special guest Art Camacho on Owen Frill's The Action Elite YouTube channel. All right. So with that in mind, let's get back into the weekly intel. So we are going to talk a little bit. There it is again, Recoil. I love that shot, actually. That's probably one of the best shots that they have of the movie. And you can't, like, a lot of those 90s direct-to-video movies, you don't get a lot of good images, like, on the computer. Like, if you Google images from, like, 80s and 90s movies, it's like hit or miss. And then what I was looking for, because I did my own article for Owen and sharing the Action Elite a live Recoil episode. So I was like, and that popped up right away. I was like, ooh, that's a good one. So I took it right away and I ran with it. And that's pretty much the only one I found. There was a good one. It's actually on the back of the cover art, where it shows Gary doing his fame where he jumps up in the air and he splits and kicks the guy. Oh, and I talked about that too. Like, nobody could do it better than Gary Daniels. And I said it's a crime that Gary Daniels didn't become as good of or as big of an action star that Jean-Claude Van Damme did. Because if anything, I mean, like, I don't want to say it, but I mean, he is, Gary Daniels is British, but I mean, he talks better than Jean-Claude Van Damme. And actually, I'm going to say it, he moves better than Jean-Claude Van Damme. His moves are sick. I'm not saying Jean-Claude Van Damme isn't sick either. I'm a huge Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. But if you had put a gun to my head and said, pick one, I would pick Gary Daniels every time and twice on Sundays. That's all I'm going to say on that. All right, so let's get into the weekly intel. I'm going to fire this puppy up, and we are going to go down the line on everything that we have. John Wick, we have Kate Beckinsale and Louis Tan, Charlie Weber, Scott Adkins. Ooh, we got some Punisher news. Tom Hardy, Lou Ferrigno, and more Keanu Reeves. And, of course, we got Wicked Cynthia Erivo signing up for an action film, which sounds kind of interesting. So let's start with this one. So, yeah. This sounds kind of interesting, and let me get into the I'm going to get into my notes here so that way I can explain to you guys what we're talking about here. So let me get all set up here, and we will get rolling. All right, so yeah, so Chad Stahelski, we all know Chad is he created the John Wick universe. He's directed every single movie. He co-directed it with the first one with David Leitch, and he struck a deal with Lionsgate to do first look deals for ACTION-FLIX, and this is one of them that's coming out. So this is Wicked Cynthia Erivo enlists for 8711 samurai infused actioner Karoshi. Sounds kind of cool. So there's not a lot of information about this one, which is kind of weird, because usually, like, when they announce these movies, they announce, like, like casts and big plots and stuff like that. This one, it's just basically, hey, Wicked Cynthia Erivo is going to be in an action movie produced by Chad Stahelski. So he's not directing it, though. Like I said, he struck this deal. He's not directing all these movies. He's going to be producer and involved in some form or other with these Lionsgate action movies. So basically, the movie stars Erivo, along with Tiao Yu, who was in Past Lives and The Recruit, and Isabel May, which I'm a fan of. She was in 1883, so good in that one. And she was actually in a Nickelodeon series way back in the day that my daughter and I just watched, which was pretty good. She was pretty funny in that one. So they're going to be in this movie with Takashi Dosher directing it from a script that he also penned. Yes. So it's called Karoshi. And here's what I wrote. There's next to nothing to talk about, but we do know that the film will be held in the corporate world, but will have a samurai twist. Intriguing, to say the least. Yes. Corporate world with a samurai twist. Stahelski produces, along with Alex Young and Jason Spitz, and shooting is set to commence this June. So basically, Dosher is best known for directing a bunch of Chicago PD episodes. I'm a big Chicago One fan. I watch them all: Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, and Chicago PD. So evidently, he's directing a bunch of those movies. So that's kind of cool. So not much is known about Karoshi, so we're gonna just kind of have to kind of see what happens with that one, and with the guests and not the guests, but the cast that comes on with that one. Then next up, we got Keanu Reeves. More info on Berserker. We all know that Keanu Reeves. This has been going on for a while now. So this has been in active development for a long time. We all know that Keanu Reeves co-wrote and created a comic book called Berserker, which is kind of effing cool if you ask me. So Berserker is basically like if Highlander met John Wick. So I'm going to read you the synopsis of Berserker. For those I have read the first graphic novel. I have not since read the other ones just for time constraints. But for those not in the know, if you will, Berserker is a brutally epic saga about an immortal warrior's 80,000-year fight through the ages. The man known only as B is half mortal and half god, cursed and compelled to violence. Bummer. Even at the sacrifice of his sanity. But after wandering the earth for centuries, B may have finally found a refuge. Working for the U.S. government to fight the battles too violent and too dangerous for anyone else. In exchange, B will be granted the one thing he desires, the truth about his endless blood-soaked existence and how to end it. And like I said in my article, it's basically John Wick infused with Highlander. So it's awesome. Like I said, I read the first graphic novel and might do a thing about it on the Comic Zone here in the future. Super cool. So he was going to direct it. He was going to star and direct it, and this is going to be for Netflix. So Netflix is going to do a movie, and they're looking at it to be a big franchise. Like Netflix is looking for huge action franchises that don't have the name Extraction in. So they've tried a lot of action movies in the past, and unfortunately, a lot of them have been hit or miss. They're been good ones, but there's a trigger warning. Anybody like I said, no offense to Jessica Alba, but boy, did that movie leave a lot to be desired. So here we go. So that's artwork from Berserker. So we got not only Keanu Reeves starring in it, and of course he's going to be involved with it, producing and everything. There's another cover art from one of the books, but the Fast and Furious franchise helmer Justin Lin has been tapped to direct it. Yes, Justin Lin. So if Keanu Reeves has stepped down, he says, you know what, probably too much to do that, to produce it, act in it, and direct it. So he got the next best thing. He got Mr. Lin to come in and direct it. So Reeves co-created and co-wrote the popular comic franchise along with Matt Kint, which saw Ron Garney serving as the illustrator. The book has sold over 600,000 copies, so it's a blockbuster. Of course, when you put Keanu Reeves' name on it, it's a done deal. It spawned spin-offs and a novel titled The Book of Elsewhere, which I have not read, so that sounds kind of interesting. So basically, yeah, like I said, so they're looking to get a next best thing in terms of an action franchise that that doesn't have the name Extraction in it. And of course, we all know that Extraction is spinning off Omar Sy, who was so great in the John Woo remake of his own movie, The Killer, which I never got a chance to review. I should do something for that because I feel bad that when that movie came out, I was not able to do a proper review for it, which kind of sucks because I liked it. I mean, was it the original? Hell no. But was it good? Yeah, it was pretty decent. I mean, it was a solid remake. And you could tell John, like, it was a good thing John did it, because if anybody else did it, it would probably be like a mess. It would probably be like, oh my gosh, what are they trying to do? It's like, all right. So next on the list in our weekly intel, we got the return of Lou Ferrigno. That's right. The Incredible Hulk is back, and he's still doing action movies, everybody. And he is in a new movie called Boom, Hard Redemption. That's right. And not only is he starring in it, he's starring along with Gino Kang. Gino Kang, we all know from Fist to Fist and the outstanding sequel, Fist to Fist, Weapon of Choice, which had probably one of the best finales in an indie martial arts action movie, where Gino basically let loose and kicked the crap out of everybody. So we got this movie coming out. And David J. Moore, who I have had on the podcast, he talked about his book, about the apocalyptic movies. We talked about that. Has been a big supporter of the site, and he's a PR guy too. He works with people. He's an author. He co-wrote this movie. So he gave me the information on it, and that's an exclusive image right there. That with Lou Ferrigno throwing the punch towards the camera is an exclusive picture that he gave me only for ACTION-FLIX.com. I'm going to show you a couple more here in a second. So Gino Kang and Lou Ferrigno are starting in a new martial arts action thriller, Hard Redemption. Love the title. So here we go. Here's the synopsis, and it's a pretty lengthy one, so just bear with me. Brian, a Korean-American teenager who wants out of his ruthless gang, the Goblins, setting the stage for gang retribution against them. On his first day of GED summer school for at-risk students, Brian meets his new teacher, a tough ex-con and ex-gang member named James Park, played by Gino Kang, a middle-aged man on a positive new course in life. When the Goblin Gang invades the school to kill Brian, they accidentally trigger the school's prototype preventive protocol measure, the hard lockdown security system. That sucks. Locking everyone and every door in the school. The Goblin assassins take hostages but can't get to Brian unless they find a way into his classroom. But Mr. Park and a seasoned security guard named Rico, played by Mr. Ferrigno, will risk their lives to save the students and stop the Goblins by any means necessary. A final confrontation between Mr. Park and the leader of the Goblins reveals a startling revelation as to the Goblins' true intention of invading the school. Mr. Park will have to decide his fate: run and save himself, or fight in a do-or-die match against the boss and skilled assassins of the gang. I think he's going to choose the stand and fight. I don't think it's going to be a spoiler. I mean, I don't think they'd film the movie and have Gino be like, bye, and take off. So, all right. So we got some exclusive picks right here. So, yep, here we go. Awesome. So here we go. So we got the one that we already showed. This is Lou Ferrigno. Then we got a one with the cast. This is the Viking Samurai, David Krumholtz. If you guys know the Viking Samurai, he does a podcast and also has been doing action movies. He was in The Last Kumite, which just came out a little while ago. He's in this movie, so that's an excellent shot of him. And there's Gino to the left with Lou Ferrigno. And again, we go back to the original. I like this one. That was a good one to give me. That was a solid image, if you will, to and these are all exclusive, like I said, to the site. So let me get to the particulars. So Gino, as we all know, is not only a martial arts action star, and he, of course, he has schools and he teaches and all that good stuff, but he's also filming. He directs too. He co-wrote and co-directed this one with Christine Lamb, and David J. Moore co-wrote it, co-wrote the script. Let me get to see who where he so with Dustin Limgruber. So I apologize if I said that wrong. So yeah, so that's Hard Redemption. No trailer. I believe they this movie is in post production, so hopefully we will get a trailer for that sooner rather than later. As we're looking forward to this one. So yeah, so pretty cool right there. I mean, like I said, I love what it's like I don't get a lot of exclusives, but I do get people who hook me up on occasion, and they're able to give me some stuff that you'll only see on the website, because we all know it's like there's 1,000 people doing these websites. It's kind of hard to rise above it all. I hope I'm doing I get told I'm doing a great job. All right, so now we got some Havoc news. That's right, Tom Hardy, Havoc. Yeah, baby. So like this movie has been a long time coming. So now we got some a little bit of news that I shared this week, and this is kind of cool because Gareth Evans has been talking this up. And you could tell he's really proud of it. He really took his time to make this movie. The movie was announced almost 5 years ago, and it's and the filming wrapped years ago, and like he went back and he was tinkering with things, shooting different things. He wanted to make the best movie he could, and again, this is going to be another one that Netflix is looking towards. I think like well, obviously we don't know what happens to Tom Hardy's character in the movie, but it's like if he does survive, they're going to be looking for probably another franchise with this one. So Mr. Evans spoke about the film, and they also offered here. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Empire. This was for Empire online, Empire magazine. I don't know if they sell it. There's a new shot of Tom Hardy let loose with a shotgun, which is pretty effing cool. Yep. So I'm gonna read some of his statements, and the reason why I did this post was because this is really shaping up to probably be one of the best, not if not the best, one of the best action films of 2025. Gareth was talking about the film. And I quote, this is Gareth from the article. It was never going to be a martial arts film. I wanted this to feel like the gunplay stuff that I love watching. Tom came to us in effing beast mode. I tapped him on the shoulder, and it was just like granite. He came fully physically prepared. Evans added, he's going to cause as much carnage and as much mayhem as possible. But yes, please. And he's not grabbing your wrist and turning you into an arm. He's grabbing you by the scruff of the neck and driving your face into the nearest heavy object. So this isn't going to be like The Raid. So we all know Gareth Evans is best known for Eco US's The Raid, which was Filipino, Indonesian. I'm sorry, Indonesian, and had some of the best action design ever. The Raid is one of those movies that many action movies are compared to, even to this day, in terms of action design. So this is going the other route. This is just gonna be like brutal, blunt, head force trauma in your face, stripped down, savage, barbaric action design. And yes, please, as we all saw from the trailer that I shared on Tactical Trailer a few weeks ago, he's stomping some guy's head into the ground. So this is going to be some nasty, nasty stuff, and I am all for it. So April cannot get here fast enough, because we all know that movie is going to be coming out, and it's going to just like, I think it's going to be awesome. I really, really do. I mean, it's really shaping up to be one. I mean, I like, a lot of times movies have so much hype that when they finally come out, everybody's kind of like, oh, it's like that was kind of a disappointment, which kind of sucks, if you ask me. But it is what it is. What I said. So like, I think this is going to be one of those special movies that really does what it sets out to do, and it's going to be a slam banger, and it's going to be Tom Hardy 90 plus minutes, however else long it is, really doing damage. No, yes, I am 3 episodes in on Daredevil Born Again. I, of course, was not one of the lucky ones that had got all 9 episodes sent to me to watch, because I'm still not that special, I guess, but I'm trying. So I am watching the series like a lot of you, week by week. The first 2 episodes came out, and boy, were their opinions galore. Holy cow. And then, of course, the third one came out. Okay, I'm loving it. I does it have some issues? Of course. there's always issues. And again, what the biggest issue is, and I'm not going to talk a lot about it because I am going to do a ACTION-FLIX podcast review of the first 3 episodes, hopefully by this weekend. So actually, I'm going to try to do 3 at a time. So there's 9 episodes in the first season. So I'm going to try to do 3 episodes at a time. So we all know that Frank is coming. Jon Bernthal is going to be in Daredevil Born Again. He's going to reassume his mantle as the Punisher. And also, we all saw at the last season 2 of the Netflix series, The Punisher, he's going to dance with you. That's right. He whipped out his machine pistols to start blasting away at gangsters, and he fully became one with his Punisher persona, skull and all. Now, this is years later, or like it's years later from the Netflix Daredevil series. So I'm assuming it's years later from the Punisher Netflix series. So now, as we can see, as you know, Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock runs into Frank. He's scruffy again. He's got, long hair. He's got the scruffy, beard like he did at the beginning of the Punisher series once he was done killing everybody that was responsible for killing his family. So whatever has happened to Frank, he's like, he's back to not shaving. So it's like, we'll figure it out. But Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock is in the scene with him, and we get to see that this is the Punisher's lair. We see guns all over the place. So he's definitely the Punisher. And the plot for this one is pretty effing cool. I'm not going to lie. The crooked cops with the Punisher tattoos, they're basically rogue cops, and they're framing the Punisher, which is going to piss Frank off. And I have a feeling that the last episode, which I hear is freaking awesome, he is going to dish out some Punisher, not justice, I'm sorry, punishment, if you will. It's not vengeance, it's punishment. So yeah, I heard some really good things about the last episode, and he's gonna cook. And we all know that the special one-shot Marvel MCU special for the Punisher is coming with Jon Bernthal involved. He's helping co-write it, and he talked about it at the premiere of SXSW Film Festival, where The Accountant 2 premiered. Again, I would have loved to have seen this early to give you guys a proper review, but I have to wait till it hits theaters because once again, I wasn't privileged in seeing it, but a lot of you have, and I've seen reviews coming out. And of course, I don't read reviews because I only trust my own opinion, because I'm not swayed by what other people say. But Mr. Bernthal was on the red carpet for the premiere of The Accountant 2, and they asked him about the Punisher special. And basically, Frank, basically, that's a Freudian slip. Basically, John said that this is going to be the Punisher that the fans are wanting. So we all know that the first 2 seasons of the Punisher with Jon Bernthal as Frank Castle, it was kind of like a filling out process. He was kind of like, dealing with things and stuff like that. He didn't truly, accept the mantle of the Punisher until the very end of season 2. Like I said, when he comes up, he's like, "Hey, I'll dance with you," and he whips out the machine pistols, and everybody got excited. And then it got canceled, of course, by Netflix because they were, throwing out their Marvel television TV shows because Disney Plus was coming, and Disney and Marvel Studios, everything was taken over, and we had to wait years because the deal that Disney struck, or Marvel struck with Netflix, yet they had to wait so many years to go back and to these characters. So that was kind of stupid. So it was a long time. So but finally, we're getting Daredevil Born Again, of course, is now on. The Punisher's coming back, and they're also talking about bringing the rest of the Defenders back. Will they? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see on this one. But he was on the red carpet, and actually has a video that they have on YouTube of him talking about it too, that I'm going to play for you here for a second. So this is Jon Bernthal's words. "It's like a shotgun blast of a story, but also has..." Oh, actually, this is Brad Winderbaum. I'm sorry. Brad Winderbaum is the head of Marvel Television, and he's the one that's, cooking this one as well. And he says, "It's like a shotgun blast of a story, but also has all the pathos and emotion that you want of a Frank Castle story." So that's Brad Winderbaum talking. Now, here's what John said on the red carpet for The Accountant 2. He says, "I'm really grateful that I'm getting the opportunity to tell the story that I think the fans deserve. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be light. And I think it's the version that this character deserves, and I'm just beyond honored." Yes. So what I'm loving here is, yes, everybody was afraid that when Disney bought, and Marvel Studios and it took over Marvel and everything, they were like, oh, they're going to water down all of our characters. Well, obviously Deadpool and Wolverine proved that Disney was like, you know what? We're all in. Let's do it. If we're going to do this, let's do it the right way. And of course, they're loving the idea that they made because Deadpool Wolverine made a buttload of money at the box office. So they're like, you know what? Marvel, as long as you do it right, just cook and we'll just sit back and let you guys do whatever you want. So I think Frank Castle as the Punisher is going to be able to cook, and I'm super excited. And here's Mr. Bertha himself on the red carpet talking about the Punisher one-shot special.
Can I tease? I mean, look, guys, like we're gonna go all the way with it. I hope that we're making something that the fans, deserve, and we have to have the courage to turn our back on the audience, to be bold, to not cut corners. It's gonna be dark.
Yes. So there you go. Woo. Get excited. I mean, I'm excited. Like, why? The only thing that would make me more excited is that they were like, hey, you know what? We're not just going to do a special. Punisher's going to come back in its own TV series. Why not just do that? That's what the fans want. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing the skull and the politically correctness of today's society where everybody's like, oh, you can't have the Punisher. Fuck that. I'm sorry. I was trying not to say the F word. I was saying F it for the rest of this recording, but you know what? It's like, listen, if you get the stick out of your butt, people, it's a comic book character. All right, just freaking relax and just accept it. Okay, it's a comic book character. He kills bad guys, and it's not a big deal. It's not like it. Like kids aren't like strapping on like guns and going out killing people in the name of the Punisher and stuff like that. Let him cook, god damn it. So that's all I got to say to that one. All right, next we got some Scott Adkins news. Yes, no, I was going to do a Scott Adkins weekly intel, which of course that got delayed because what happens. Yes, life, job, all that good stuff intervenes, and then I'm left being like, okay, here's what I haven't done yet. Here's what I got to do. It's like, but it's coming sooner or later. But hey, this is going to be part of it now because every time I hold off on it, I got more to talk about in my special Scott Adkins edition of the Essential Adkins, if you will. That's what I call it. But we have more news on Death March. Well, Go USA, we all know, is putting out Death March, and it's not called Death March anymore. Nope, it's not called Death March anymore. So we have a new title for the World War II Bloodsport style pick where Scott Adkins plays a prisoner of war where he's forced to fight in a Japanese internment camp. And it is now called, Prisoner of War. They have changed the name from Death March to Prisoner of War, which I like it. It's okay. Was Death March cool? I like Death March because Death March was part of the history that this movie is about. The story that it's telling is a true life story. Not this one where Scott Adkins is forced to fight in a Japanese POW camp, but the foundations of the story, if you will, are based on a true story. So Scott Adkins is now starring in the new movie now called Prisoner of War. You know what? You could call it Scott Adkins kicks crap out of Japanese people, and I'd be like, okay, but they are Japanese. I mean, I'm not being. It's like they're Japanese soldiers. What can I say? All right, so Prisoner of War. Do we all know Louis Mandylor, the great Louis Mandylor, who also starred with Adkins in the Debt Collector movies, and has since done a lot of cool movies himself. Hellhounds being one of them, a great movie, indie action movie. Crossfire he did, and he's also been directing 3 Days in Malay. He directed another World War II picture. Lewis seems to be in this World War II vibe thing going, which is pretty cool. That was a great movie. I mean, it kicked ass, had Lou, and again, he starred in it as well, and had Curtis Rampage Jackson in it. So the plot for Prisoner of War, formerly known as Death March, a British airman washes ashore after being ejected from his plane and becomes a prisoner in a Japanese-run POW camp. While waiting to join the infamous Bataan Death March, that's what it's based on, the Bataan Death March, where they forced all these prisoners to march to their death. The airman is tortured by the camp commander and is forced to fight for his life against an array of skilled Japanese warriors. There you go. Adkins portrays the airman. Veteran actor Peter Shinkoda, who was in iRobot and Daredevil, is playing the camp commander. And we also know that It's got a great cast. Michael Capone as Good as Dead, and Power Rangers Time Force and martial arts in his own right is in it. Donald Cowboy Cerrone is in it. He was in 3 Days in Malay. He's an MMA fighter. Michael Renee Walton, who's in Reptile. Gary Kearns, who's in The Channel and Justified. Action icon Sho Kosugi's son, Shane Kosugi, is also in it. Gabby Garcia and Masanari Mumoto is also in it. Yes. So that is news for Scott Adkins' latest World War II fight flick, now called Prison of War. Is it's actually going to have a premiere next month in Los Angeles, so which is kind of cool. Again, I wish I was able to see it, but I won't be able to. I'm going to have to wait like everybody else. Hopefully, because I have a good relationship with Wellgo USA, that I will get a screener for this one because I will eat this thing up as soon as I get it. That'll be super exciting. Come on, it is. It's exciting. So there you go. So yeah, so that's what we got for Scott Adkins, and now we're rolling here. We're getting up here to the finish line, if you will. This is kind of cool. So there's a movie coming out next week, which is called High Ground. Yes, it's called High Ground. Now you might say, John, what is High Ground? And I'm gonna be like, well, I'm glad you asked, because High Ground is like a neo-modern Western with Charlie Weber starring in it. That's right. Charlie Weber, we all know him from How to Get Away with Murder, which he's actually having a series finale. He's been on that show for a while. That was his biggest acting role as today, but he's been doing several action movies. He was in Jarhead 3: The Siege, which also starred Scott Adkins and was directed by the great William Kaufman, who I've interviewed many times. And The Painter, which was a sleeper hit last year, at least I thought it was a sleeper hit last year in terms of one of the best action movies of the year. I don't want to say John Wick-esque because everybody compares everything to John Wick, but it's got that vibe to it, in terms of the action sequences. It's got gun fu going on. Really great movie. Charlie played a great character. I should do a podcast about that one as well. Really, I did a review. So if you go to the ACTION-FLIX.com and Google The Painter, I did do a review where I gave it very, very many accolades. But now he is back in the movie called High Ground, which he also produced. There's a still from him that I got from himself and another producer of the film. And this movie comes out next Tuesday. Now, the big news is myself and I was able to interview Mr. Weber for the movie's release next Tuesday, March 18th, courtesy of Republic Pictures via Paramount Pictures. That's right. I got to talk to Charlie Weber. He sought me out. I'm just going to say that right now. They sought me out. I didn't go fishing for this. Charlie likes my site. I'm just going to say that. He loves my outlet. He says it in the interview. I'm not sure he said love. But I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, awesome. That's like, because I've been watching you for a while now. So yeah, so I interviewed Charlie for this movie. Here are some images from the movie of Charlie and the cast, which also has Jon Voight. We all know Jon Voight starred with Charlie in The Painter as well. So he plays his dad in this movie. I have seen this movie, mind you. I got a screener for it. I'm going to do a special podcast review for this. There's John and Charlie acting. And it also stars Catherine McNamara. There she is with Charlie right there. We all know Catherine McNamara. She's become an action star in her own right. She starred in Air Force One Down, which was another sleeper hit that was off my radar that just kind of popped up on my feed. And then I watched it. I was like, she is awesome in that movie. Like super awesome, like big time awesome. And it's also got Henry Thomas. We all know Henry Thomas, who played Elliot in E.T. the Extraterrestrial when he was a child. But Henry Thomas has become a great actor in his own right, has done many, 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 many things since then. There he is with Jon Voight in the movie. And there's John contemplating something as he sits at the dinner table. And then there's Catherine McNamara. So great. She's awesome. She's great to look at. I'm not going to lie, but she is awesome. And she is awesome in this movie too. She gets a chance to kick some ass like she did in Air Force One Down. Not going to say a lot about the review because I'm holding off my thoughts on the film until I do my podcast review. But this Monday, I'm going to have a podcast review for High Ground, as well as my exclusive interview with Charlie Weber, where we had a great conversation. I talked to him for about 30 minutes. He was on his way to Bulgaria to shoot something else, and he took the time to come to me and talk about this movie, which was awesome. I was just like, wow. And we also have an exclusive. Well, it's not exclusive, but I haven't seen anybody put this out yet. But this is a clip from the movie High Ground, which stars Charlie Weber. This is Charlie Weber and Henry Thomas in the film.
He restoreth my soul.
Sheriff. So you're a religious man, are you? Everyone is. Some just find God sooner than others. I'm guessing you found him sooner. No. I can't say that. But I did before it was too late. If I don't walk out of here before tonight, there'll be no building left for me to walk out of, and there'll be no town left for you to watch over. Is that right? You must be real important. No, I'm not. To one person, I am. Seems for a man of faith, you're a man of bad decisions.
There you go. Buy it on digital, March 18th, this Tuesday. Now, the official plot, I'm going to scroll up here and show you the key art, which shows the cast, which is pretty cool. The plot is when a mysterious prisoner lands in his jail, Henry Thomas plays the mysterious prisoner. A border-town sheriff faces the wrath of a brutal cartel in this action-packed thriller starring Charlie Weber, Catherine McNamara, and Academy Award winner John Boyd. All right, and I did actually offer a little bit of a sneak peek preview of my review. I've seen the movie, and while my podcast review is on hold until next Monday, a day before the release, I can attest that this is a solid crime thriller with a modern Western vibe that features Weber in an old-school, heroic, kick-ass role reminiscent of when Clint Eastwood starred in these kinds of movies. The action is first-rate with ample amounts of bullets and bravado. I'm a good writer. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm just going to say it. I am a good writer. I know how to write stuff. All right, so that's this Tuesday, March 18th. Monday or by Tuesday at the latest, like I said, because I work. I'm trying to put all this together. Like I got the podcast review of High Ground, and then I also have my exclusive interview with the man himself, Mr. Charlie Weber. That's right. Charlie is going to talk. He has talked to me. It's been recorded. All right. That's why I can announce it, because I have it. It's on my computer, and I'm putting it together as we speak. So I am all set. So be on the lookout for my exclusive interview with Charlie Weber, star of High Ground, as well as The Painter and Jarhead 3: The Siege and How to Get Away with Murder, which he stars with Viola Davis, which is an ABC series, I believe. I have not watched it. I apologize. I mean, maybe now that it's ending, I'll get into it and watch Charlie, because I'm such a fan of his. It's not an action show. I mean, obviously, but it doesn't have to be action. I watch more than action. People think I only watch action movies. Like, no, I don't. I watch all kinds of stuff. But it's like I don't have time to really watch a lot of stuff. So basically, I always watch my first love, which is action movies. All right. Couple more things here on the ACTION-FLIX podcast, the weekly intel. We have news on Kate Beckinsale and Louis Tan. That's right. Kate Beckinsale and Louis Tan. Let me get it up here for you guys here. Give me 2 seconds. They are starring in a new movie called... Hang on, I clicked on the wrong thing. My computer's playing. Like when I do this StreamYard, I don't know if any of you guys have trouble, but like when I'm sharing the screen, it jumbles all over the place. It's a pain in the butt, let me tell you. I mean, I pay enough for this. Do you think I would be able to get, something for my money? I guess not. All right, so they're starting a new movie called Lioness, not to be confused with Paramount Plus Taylor Sheridan's Lioness, which stars, we can now say, Academy Award-winning Zoe Saldana, because she won the Academy Award this past a few weeks ago. She stars in Lioness, which is a military thriller TV series, which I loved. I'm in season 2 right now. Season 1 was good, could have been better in terms of the action and everything. It got kind of soapy with the love, and I don't care that it was a lesbian relationship, but that's fine. But it kind of took over. And I was like, I loved Zoe's character and her team. I wanted to see more of them, and that's what they're looking like they fixed with season 2. And Max Martini's in it, which is awesome. And Taylor Sheridan's in it. Taylor Sheridan is in this, okay, and he is jacked. Let me tell you, this guy writes all these great shows, right? But this dude he should be in action movies. If he ever wants to stop writing hit TV series for Paramount Plus, he could be an action star because this guy rocks it. I've seen the first couple episodes, and that boy, let me tell you, he is not only in shape, but he kicks ass. And there you go. Okay. Well, let's get on to this Linus now. So Lewis Tan and Kate Beckinsale, there's my screenshot. I used a shot of her as Celine. And there is Lewis breaking out a martial arts pose. This is actually going to be directed by James Nunn. We all know James Nunn has directed several Scott Adkins movies, One Shot, the sequel, One More Shot, as well as Eliminators. So here's the thing. This is a new movie coming out. It's already being shot. This kind of flew under the radar, if you will. It kind of, like not a lot of people, it's already being made. Normally like these projects get announced before they start shooting, but this one's already shooting. James Nunn's directing it. Kate Beckinsale and Lewis Tan. We all know Lewis Tan's also going to be seen in the Mortal Kombat sequel later this year. Kate Beckinsale's been rocking it. She's done Canary Black. She's been doing a lot of action-related projects. But this one concerns an ex-Black Ops team who reunite to pull off a desperate heist to save the life of their leader's 8-year-old daughter. And the leader, of course, is played by Beckinsale. That's right. So the cast includes Rasmus Hardiker, Alice Kriege, Bailey Patrick, Tom Bennett, Matt Willis, and Roxy Steyer. None is directed from a script penned by Dominic Burns, who's best known for Madness in the Method. That's called Lioness, not to be confused with the Paramount. I mean, they might change the name. I don't know, but like that's what it's called now. It's called Lioness. But again, not to be confused with that other TV series that is rocking it on Paramount Plus as we speak. It just finished its second season. I am currently watching it. So yeah, so that's pretty damn cool. All right, I got one more thing, one more bit of weekly intel to deliver to you guys. A little more so, if you will, as I wrap up here before I have to go to work and assume my duties as a boring assistant man. Like, I feel like I'm Batman when I'm doing this. Like, okay, so hear me out. Like, now I'm Batman. Right now, doing the website, I'm doing the podcast. I'm talking to celebrities and stuff like that. I got Charlie Weber I'm talking to. And then I go to work. And then I have to watch kids jump around. And then a lot of them are little a-holes. It's like then I'm Bruce Wayne, but without the money. It's like, so right now I'm Batman, if you will. That's how I feel. It's like, this is my alter ego. This is my cool alter ego. I am John Jerva, CEO of ACTION-FLIX.com and the ACTION-FLIX podcast on YouTube. But then I go to work and it's just like, I got kids like trying to get under my skin. It's like, what are you going to do? Anyways, enough of that. So we got some John Wick news. Yep, there we go. John Wick. John Wick 5 is in development. How do you say? Well, we don't know. We just know it's in development. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen John Wick Chapter 4, and you should have by now, he died in the last one. Or did he, I always say. You never know. So this announcement was made by Jennifer Brown, who is the EVP and head of global products and experiences at Lionsgate. And I said, wow, that's a title. I'm just an assistant manager where I work. She mentioned this. They're doing this thing in Las Vegas again, which I wish I could go to Las Vegas to check this out. It's called the John Wick Experience, where you get to like experience like the world of John Wick, which sounds awesome. But again, I'm here in Panama City Beach, Florida, so I couldn't be any farther away if I went over the ocean to the east. All right, so here's what she had to say in an interview with comicbook.com, who interviewed her during the press for a John Wick Experience in Las Vegas. She says, this world continues to grow and expand in incredible ways. Up next, of course, we have Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas, who is June 6th. That's coming out, so we're excited because Keanu's in it. How much of a part does he play in it? He's probably a cameo, which is our first spin-off movie, and we can't wait for the release that to the world. Of course, we've announced we're working on a 5th John Wick film. I think there are more spin-offs to come, a TV series and video game. So everybody's like, okay, John Wick 5. So how do we do that? Is he dead? Is he not dead? Is somebody going to take over? And so why do John Wick 5? Just do spinoffs. Like we all know Donnie Yen's doing Kane spinoff for his character in John Wick Chapter 4, which he was awesome. He's the blind assassin, who put his past to the side until he had to help John Wick, kind of thing, which was kind of cool. Brown added this on Reeves. We've shared that we're developing a 5th John Wick film. John Wick may be dead. We're all on bated breath waiting to find out. That's what she said. So evidently Lionsgate doesn't know if he's alive either. So we have no idea what is going on. All we know is that John Wick 5 is in development, and that's it. Is he dead? Who the hell knows? I say, if you want to do a John Wick 5, do a prequel. Yes, do a prequel. That would be kind of cool. I mean, obviously, you couldn't do a prequel many, many years ago because, obviously you'd have to de-age Keanu Reeves, because he's in his 50s now. That's not like. And Keanu Reeves also stated that he's like, I'm getting old. It's like I'm getting old, and I don't know if I can, because he's doing a lot of stuff on his knees, all the tricks and the action design that 8711 does and everything. He's like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. So we don't know how much longer Keanu Reeves can play John Wick, if at all. As you see, I have him right here in the back. There he is. He's over my shoulder like a guardian angel. I got him and Jason Statham on the other side, and Batman, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the cast of Triple Threat. All right, so there you go. All right, so that's the weekly intel. Is John Wick dead or alive? We don't know. We'll just have to wait out. Jennifer doesn't even know. She's waiting with bated breath along with the rest of us. All right, so real quick, let me just go down the line again. If you haven't checked it out already, this past Wednesday, we had our great Action Elite Live with the great Art Camacho, where we talked about this little ditty, Recoil, from 1998, starring Gary Daniels, which is a bombastic display of vehicular warfare, bullets, fisticuffs, Gary doing his thing. It's kind of sad, though. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, it's kind of a somber movie, especially the ending. I love the ending. I was able to tell him that I love the ending to this movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I won't spoil the ending, but it's cool. But then when it ends, you're just kind of like, oh, it's like, okay, well, he did what he had to do. Now it's like, now what kind of thing. But we were able to talk with Art Camacho, so make sure you check that out. And of course, I have all this other wonderful stuff planned if I can get to it. Whenever. I got Yojo Zone coming. I'm going to be talking about some of the cool things that Image has in plan for their line of G.I. Joe comics, as well as a review of the first few issues of their Energon universe, which they killed somebody in the first issue, and I almost damned them. Almost. I was just close to damning them because, like, what? I mean, in the first issue? I mean, like, further down the road, maybe I could have been like, yeah, okay, but like, dude, you did my boy wrong in the first issue. And I'm not going to spoil it now. There will be spoilers when I talk about it. But evidently this arc, it's a 6-issue arc that's going to end with issue 6. And the plot basically is Cobra, Cobra Commander and Destro are like, this is like a new G.I. Joe. Like, this isn't the Larry Hama G.I. Joe where they're also doing that at Image too, which, is still branching off of the Marvel comics. And then what Image did before they canceled it and then brought it back. This is a new universe. And of course we know that it's connected to the Transformers and everything. And there's the Energon, which is a energy source. Cobra Commander's working with Destro in early stages of the relationship to get the Energon to use for weapons, which they kind of have. And boy, is it devastating. And it's cool. It doesn't have snake eyes. Like I said, I don't know, like, if they're doing this for a reason, like, because Snake Eyes has been used so much in the G.I. Joe universe. They're like, hey, let's give some of these other guys and gals a chance to shine, which is fine. I get it. But now they're introducing some other characters, beloved characters. So you might see Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow get in there eventually, but I'm still enjoying it, because I love G.I. Joe. I mean, I'm a huge Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow fan. They're my favorite characters, along with this other guy that got killed in issue 1. I'm still mad. I am still upset that happened to my boy. He's even on the cover. He's like, with his, I was like, yeah, and I got into it. And then I read the last panel and I was like, what? And I'm like, no. And then the second issue came out. I'm like, yeah, okay. All right. So I'm going to do Yojo Zone. And of course, I'm going to have my Daredevil Born Again review, which is not going to be popular with a lot of people because a lot of people aren't liking it. I like it. Is it perfect? No. Are they doing some things with characters you're kind of like, yeah, but it's still Daredevil, and it still has the tone of the Netflix series. It's still got the violence. It's got cops trying to frame the Punisher, which is cool because then John's gonna get all pissed off and do his Punisher thing. We saw the behind the scenes pictures and videos of him and Daredevil, and I heard the action sequence is off the charts. This is one of the most awesome things that the MCU have done, so I can't wait to see him cook. And I know I'm using that word a lot, but it's a good word to use, and it's what the kids are saying, so that's what I'm saying. All right, so until then, I have nothing else on this episode of the Weekly Intel. I kept it within an hour if I stopped talking. I'm at 56 minutes right now. So thank you guys for all your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. Obviously, you know, this helps us continue. You know, the more viewers we get, then we could get, you know, the more viewers we have, people, celebrities we get and stuff. Like, I'm starting to get more and more. Like I said, I've been getting celebrities for a lot of years now, but now it's getting, like I said, Charlie Weber came and the producers came to me for High Ground, and I was just like, yeah, that's cool. There you go. And also we've 10-year anniversary for ACTION-FLIX.com this August. I'm going to be doing some special things this August for my 10-year anniversary for the website. Remember, visit the website. It's a website. This is not just a podcast that I do. This is a podcast I do in relation to the website, but go to the website and give it some love. And of course, I went over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm now at 1,070 something, which is awesome. So I'm super excited. I got exclusive interviews coming up, movie and TV breakdowns. I got the Yojo Zone coming. Like I said, Comic Zone, where I'm going to try to do a thing where I talk about new comics every week as I get them. Anatomy of Action Design, which I'm trying to get some celebrities to come on, filmmakers to talk about action sequences, whether it's martial arts sequences or firefights. Center of the Ring, 2 movies enter, 1 movie leaves. Which one's the better? I'm going to talk about which movie wins. Trailer Tactical, of course, is where we check out all the latest trailers. And of course, the Weekly Intel, which is what you're watching right now, where I talk about all the latest in action cinema and television. All right, everybody. So like I said, that is all I got. I'm going to shut up now and let you guys have an awesome Friday. It's the weekend, but you know what? That means it sucks for me because all I do is work all weekend. So I'm off next week. I get the weekdays off, so hopefully I will be childless too. So I'm going to try to get a lot done as I can. And I'm not going to lie, when I get home from work, I am super exhausted, and it's hard to do this. But I am plugging along even before I have to go to work, and do this for you guys, because I'm getting some good feedback. A lot of you guys are watching it, you're liking what you're seeing. But like I said, like and subscribe, hit those buttons. That's how we're able to do this for us. So yeah, so we got John Wick 5 coming with or without Keanu Reeves. Charlie Weber stars in High Ground. That comes out March 18th. Look out for my exclusive interview with the man himself, Charlie Weber. We talk all about the movie, as well as Jarhead 3, The Siege, and The Painter. Of course, you know I had to talk about those movies with him. He gave me some great stories. Scott Adkins is starring in now is what is known as Prisoner of War, directed by the great Louis Mandalore. Hard Redemption is coming, Lou Ferrigno with Gino Kang. And of course, we talked about Recoil with special guest Art Camacho, the director of the film, on this week's Past Action Elite Live. So that's every Wednesday. So make sure you hit that up and watch me on that show as me and the gang talk about old school action as well as new stuff. And a lot of times it's just us gushing over. Like this episode, we weren't like kissing his butt or anything. We would have said all this stuff even if he wasn't on the show, because that movie is awesome. And like, it's 90s, man. It's like nothing's better than 90s action, especially they didn't even have big budgets, and what they did with it was amazing. You just got to see it. All right, so until then, I'm like Jason Statham, dropping mags and dropping guns. I am out of here, so have a good day, everybody. Remember, be nice until it's time to not be nice. Treat others as you would want to be treated. And the world sucks as it is right now. I don't even get into politics. Let's just talk action and be nice to one another. All right. Until next time, on the next episode of the Action Fix podcast, this is John with ActionFlix.com saying bye-bye.